You only followers, this is part 5, Breath, Meaning, and Mind Reading, the ancient human power hidden in plain sight.
You won't believe these 2 books, they cracked my world wide open. Pages like little flashlights on all the parts I kept hidden.
Take a breath with me. Before we begin, because this episode is going to move through something powerful, we are stepping into a conversation that connects breath, meaning, perception, body language, and the mystery of human mind, and even the modern fears that rise when technology tries to reshape what it means to be human. This is not just information. This is a journey through what makes us human in the first place. We begin with 2 books that seem different, but are deeply connected. The Wim Hof Method and A Man's Search for Meaning. One teaches us how to regulate the body through breath, how stress can become a teacher rather than a threat, and how intentional discomfort can strengthen resilience. The other teaches us that meaning is the deepest force inside the human spirit, that even when control disappears, the ability to choose our response remains. One works through physiology, the other philosophy, and together they reveal a single truth. Human power begins internally. Breath slows the chaos. Meaning gives it direction. Now imagine adding another layer to this understanding. The way we read each other without speaking. The way a person can walk into a room and somehow feel the mood without anyone saying a word. Mentalist Oz Pearlman explains that what people call mind reading is not supernatural at all. It is attention. It is slowing down enough to notice what most people miss. Oz Pearlman says that humans leak information constantly through tone, posture, pauses, and facial expressions. When someone leans closer while you speak, they show engagement. When their rhythm of speech changes, something emotional has shifted. None of this is magic. It is pattern recognition shaped by focus and practice. What makes this feel mysterious is not that it is hidden, but that we move too fast to see it. The mentalist slows time psychologically. He watches before he reacts. He listens without rushing to fill the silence. And suddenly, people feel like he's inside their heads. This idea connects beautifully to the 2 books. Stepping into the world of Wim Hof, a man who shattered the limits of the human body by mastering breath, mindset, and the raw power of the cold. Listen to this clip of him on the Joe Rogan podcast.
You've allowed scientists to test you every step of the way, and you've proven that all this is true. When we're saying these things, I mean, these are things that have been studied at universities, and they injected you with an endotoxin?
Endotoxin, yes.
To prove that you can auto-regulate your immune system.
Exactly. Normally, it's a controlled experiment, and they did it with thousands of people already, and nobody was able to control to the depth of the immune system, because the endotoxin provokes a response in the immune system. You become feverish, you get headaches, all over agony, uncontrolled shivering, vomiting, things like that happen. But the people I trained, first I did it myself, and then they said, yeah, but you are the Iceman, you are an exception on the rule, you confirm the rule because of this. No, I said, anybody can do this.
Wim Hof teaches slowing the intentional storm through breathing.
Regulating your pain is done by regulating and controlling the pain receptors. They are next to the temperature receptors. How did it came about that I went into the cold? I began to breathe deep and found out I was able to control the cold, the stress of the cold. Cold is stress and very painful, but not if you control the breathing. Pain is stress, like cold. It's related to the stress mechanisms in our brain. Are we able to connect consciously with the stress mechanisms in our brain through breathing techniques? Yes.
Frankel teaches slowing reaction long enough to choose meaning. Pearlman teaches slowing perception long enough to notice truth. In every case, the power comes from slowing down. Across cultures, this idea has always existed. Martial artists understood that calm breathing leads to clear awareness. Philosophers understood that reflection prevents impulsive reaction. Slow down. Monks understood that stillness reveals reality, audience members. Even fighters like Bruce Lee spoke about flow and relaxation, warning that tension makes you rigid and predictable. The calm person sees more. The calm person chooses better. So here is the thread information beneath all of this. Breath changes state, awareness changes perception, meaning changes direction. But now we move into something modern, something unsettling, something that has been circulating online and stirring people's imagination, a concept called cognify. You may have heard whispers about it, videos claiming that criminals could one day serve decades of prison sentences in minutes through AI-generated implanted experiences. The idea suggests that artificial memories could simulate years of consequence and remorse in a compressed time frame, transforming rehabilitation into something that happens inside the mind instead of inside prison walls. Because prison walls creates insanity. The first prison was actually started in Pennsylvania in 1790. It was called a penitentiary. They handed you a Bible and told you to repent for your sins the time you were there. And immediately the human imagination ignites. People compare it to science fiction, to dystopian stories, to episodes of shows like Black Mirror. The idea feels both fascinating and testifying, but it's important to slow down here because truth matters more than hype. Cognify is not a real operating system in prisons, but we know once we hear a whisper about a technological idea, it's coming. It exists as a conceptual proposal at the moment, an idea, not an implanted technology. And current technology cannot implant complex artificial memories the way these videos describe everyone. So that's something to know. Even though, like I said, we know that technology can get really out of hand really quick. Still, the reason this idea spreads so powerfully says something important about us. It touches a deep fear and fascination. What if technology could shape human experience directly? What if behavior could be modified by altering perception instead of circumstance? And suddenly, we are back to the same core theme again, because what is cognify at its philosophical core? It is an attempt, imagined or theatrical, to change behavior by changing perception and memory. It assumes that if the mind experiences something deeply enough, the person changes. Now listen carefully, because this is where everything ties together here. Wim Hof suggests changing the body experience to change mental resilience. Frankel suggests changing interpretation and meaning to change survival. Fan members, here's Viktor Frankl on meaning.
Void manifests itself as
in apathy, in boredom, lack of initiative, lack of interest in the world, or initiative in changing something within the world for the better. This frustration is a proof of the existence of a will to meaning. Unless we were imbued by will to meaning, by the wish to find meaning and discover and fulfill meaning in life, we never would be able to experience an inner void.
Pearlman demonstrates changing attention and awareness to change how reality appears. Cognify as a concept imagines changing memory itself to change behavior. Each one asks the same question from a different angle. What shapes who we become? But there is a massive difference, and this difference matters deeply. In Wim Hof's work, the breath is voluntary. You choose to practice. Listeners, here's Wim Hof.
Are there any advanced breathing techniques? I tell you, when you go more focused with a great good intention, very peaceful into the breathing exercise, you get absolutely to a unprecedented depth of yourself. That's what you actually are searching for. To go into advancing,
This technique goes to the full depth. It's up to your investment in the moment that you make the advancing area opening up to you.
In Frankel's philosophy, meaning is chosen internally. In Pearlman's awareness, perception grows through intentional attention. These approaches strengthens agency, your ability to choose. The concern many people have about these ideas like Cognify is that they remove agency, replacing inner growth with engineered experience. Critics raise ethical questions about consent, authenticity, and the risk of manipulating memory or emotion through technology. And I think that consent is one of the biggest deals out there now because it has to do with everybody's privacy. And if they can get your consent without your permission, it's not illegal. This contrast brings us to the heart of the human story, though. Real transformation seems to require participation, effort, and choice. Breathing through discomfort teaches you because you stay present. Finding meaning through suffering changes you because you decide what it means. And that makes sense, I think. Learning to read human body language changes you because you slow down and truly see another person. And that's what Pearlman's standpoint is. He learned to really read people's unthought of body movements and correlates that to be able to guess any number you're thinking of or your debit card number. And people are like, oh, you can tell the future. And he said, no, I'm just literally putting together key point indicators that lead me to know that this is what's going on with you.
Here is Oz Pearlman, renowned mentalist and magician, known for using psychology, body language analysis, and nonverbal cues to read minds and predict behavior.
Month, day, and year. What year? Give me the year.
2027.
2027, you see it. Is there a reason you picked it or no? Month and a day.
I'm going July 6th.
July 6th, 2027. 7/06/27. Here's what I think. This is the wild part about this.
I wonder if it could be a weekend.
Could be a weekend. I didn't look it up yet. July 6th, 27. You made it up. Each of you grab a book. You get your own book.
Okay.
I get your book.
You get my book.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm giving it to you. I'll sign it later. You better sign that one for me.
Okay.
Flip through the pages.
Yep.
And I want you, because here's what I think. The way that a 1929 event happens is when everyone's brain is synced up. Everyone loses confidence in the market at the same time.
Yep.
Everyone sells, no one buys. As you're flipping through, hold it a little closer.
Sorry.
Because it doesn't matter to me, but I don't want you to see each other's.
Okay.
His book has more pages than mine.
Yes.
One page, I always say it's calling out your name. I like how Andrew just started reading his book. He goes, this is a great chapter right here.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Now, I always say the first and the last thing you do is what people remember. The first and the last. You'll go first on your page. Look at the first word right now. Joe, look at the first word on the page. Bam, and then close the book tight. You did it? Look at the last word on your page.
Yep. I'm
Did
looking
it?
at
Close the book. Here's where it gets wild. Each of you see your word in front of you. I want you to just grab out a letter. Just grab a letter out of your word. You got one?
Mm-hmm.
Letter and a letter?
Okay.
Look at me. Look at each other. When I go 1, 2, and 3, say the letter you picked. 1, 2, 3.
G.
No.
That was weird. That was weird. Each of you grab a pad of paper and a marker. There is no collusion. You could have picked any random page. You could have picked any random page.
Any
Any
random
word.
page.
Grab it.
I could
There's no
have.
chance on this. Hold it close to your body, gentlemen. And I want you each to write your word as big as you can, please. Hold it close to each other.
Hold close to my body.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep.
On 3. 1, 2, and when I say 3 and point at you, I want you to turn your words around. 1, 2, and think about this. You picked any page, you picked any page, you picked any word. Both of you did this. 3, turn around. Legal. Legal. Is that correct? Legal. Legal.
I can't do it anymore.
I know.
We've been doing
I'm
this-
going back in time trying to think of how.
Every
But
time.
Joe, don't go back in time. Go forward in time. Because 1929, your
Yes.
book turned the world upside down financially. Is that right?
Yeah.
You each gave me any day, any month, any year, just on the spot. I'm about to turn your world upside down because when you turn this upside down, the word that I'm seeing.
The numbers Oz drew on the board, when he turned the board around, they were upside down and it spelled legal. And that's exactly what those guys had written on their board was legal.
But here's something else, fan members, that I wanted you to hear. Ancient wisdom across culture points in the same direction, Growth comes from awareness, not force. And maybe this is why the Cognify concept feels so emotionally powerful to people. It reflects both hope and fear. Hope that humans can change more quickly, fear that change might one day be engineered rather than earned. And maybe that's what they're going to do to the military too. Put those chips in them and then, yes, master, you know what I mean? Every magical thing we discussed today is actually rooted in attention. Breathwork feels mystical because you finally feel your body clearly. Body language feels supernatural because someone is paying close attention. Meaning feels profound because you pause long enough to ask why. Even futuristic ideas like AI memory implants fascinate us because they force us to ask what makes experience real in the first place. The ancient magic is not technology, it is awareness. And that's something that all these technological gadgets has withered away and snubbed out and made less is our awareness of ourselves and others around us. Humans have always possessed this capacity. Long before AI, long before psychology textbooks, before neuroscience, before modern culture, humans learned to breathe slowly before battle, to watch each other carefully, to tell stories that created meaning out of suffering. We are pattern seeking beings trying to understand ourselves. And that's why I'm here, and that's why you're here. So, as we close, imagine this entire episode as one conscious breath. You inhale, Wim Hof reminds you that you can regulate the storm inside your body. You pause, Frankel reminds you that meaning gives suffering shape instead of letting it swallow you. You exhale. Pearlman reminds you that humans constantly communicate beyond words if you slow down enough to notice. And then the modern world appears with ideas like Cognify, asking us what happens when technology tries to shortcut the ancient processes of humans have always walked through slowly. The conclusion is not fear, it is reflection. Real transformation seems to come not from having experience implanted into us, but from living experience consciously, breath by breath, choice by choice, moment by moment. And maybe that is why you listeners will want to return to this episode, because it reminds you of that mystery that you're looking for outside of yourselves, but it's always been inside of yourself. In the breath, in attention, and meaning, and the quiet, ancient magic of being human and fully awake to what is already happening. Take one more slow breath now. Notice that nothing supernatural happened, and yet everything just changed because you noticed.
Now we bring it all together, not softly, not cautiously, but powerfully. If you have stayed through these conversations, and hopefully I haven't bored our audience too much, through longevity science, breathwork, trauma, discipline, reflection, neurobiology, identity, and quiet mechanics, then you are not a casual listener. You are an inner worker, and we are so proud of you, every single one of you. And here is the mind-blowing truth that runs through every one of these books. Your body is not separate from your psychology. Your psychology is not separate from your habits, and your habits definitely are not separate from your identity. And your identity is not fixed, everyone. Thank you guys for listening to the You Only podcast. So, in the book Outlive by Peter Attia, he teaches us that 80% of chronic disease risk is driven by lifestyle variables we can influence: metabolic health, muscle mass, cardiorespiratory fitness, sleep quality. VO2 max alone is one of the strongest predictors of overall cause of mortality. Grip strength predicts survival. Muscle is not vanity, it is insurance, everyone. In Breath by James Nestor, he shows us that most people breathe 15 to 20 times per minute when optimal regulation occurs closer to 5 to 6. Slow nasal breathing improves vagal tone, lowers blood pressure, improves heart rate variability, a key marker of nervous system resilience, everyone. In Principles by Ray Dalio, he proves that reflection prevents repetition, that unexamined decisions compound into unexamined lives. And Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman shows that nearly 90% of our decisions default to fast automatic thinking unless we consciously slow down. In Mindset, Carol Dweck demonstrates that believing change is possible literally alters performance trajectories. In Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willink reframes responsibility as power, but neuroscience reminds us responsibility must be paired with regulation and breath, and beneath all of it lies the quiet mechanics. Here is the conclusion that should release something inside your chest. You are not stuck because you are weak. You are stuck when your biology, your beliefs, and your behaviors are misaligned. Fix the alignment and everything changes. Strength training increases insulin sensitivity and reduces mortality risk by up to 20%. Zone 2 cardio improves mitochondrial density, the literal energy engines of your cells. Slow breathing shifts. Gratitude practices measurably increase dopamine and serotonin. Consistent sleep restores neural pruning and memory consolidation. These are not hacks, they are levers. Here is the part that should feel like endorphins rushing through your system. Neuroplasticity does not expire. Your brain can rewire in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. Muscle can grow at 70. VO2 max can improve at 65. Emotional regulation can strengthen after decades of chaos. I know because I'm a child abuse survivor. Trauma can integrate. Identity can rebuild. Science confirms it. But science only works if you participate. To the silent inner worker listening right now, the one who never complains, who carries more than anyone knows, this is for you. I mean this. You don't need a personality transplant. There's nothing wrong with you. You need fine-tuning. Fine-tune your sleep. Fine-tune your breath. Fine-tune reflection. Fine-tune your nutrition. Fine-tune your training. Fine-tune your meaning. Small calibrations, massive compounding. The quiet mechanics are not dramatic. They are disciplined. They are invisible to others. They are visible to biology. Did you hear that? They are invisible to others. They are visible to biology. You breathe slower, cortisol lowers. You lift heavier, insulin improves. You reflect weekly, biases weaken. You eat intentionally, inflammation drops. You forgive yourself, nervous system softens. This is not hype. This is measurable physiology. And here is the uplifting truth that should make you sit up straight, everyone. The same nervous system that adapted to chaos can adapt to peace. The same brain that learned survival can learn fulfillment. The same discipline that endured pressure can build longevity. You are not behind. You are recalibrating. Every episode in this series was never about information. It was about integration. Longevity without calm is burnout. Breath without strength is fragility. Reflection without action is stagnation. Discipline without compassion is fracture. But when they converge, something extraordinarily happens inside of you. You become durable and gentle, strong and regulated, disciplined and reflective, grounded and expansive. This is evolution, and here is the final truth that should anchor in your nervous system. You do not rise to motivation, you rise to mechanics. Fine-tune the mechanics, and motivation follows. So to every listener across cities, states, countries, to the fathers, mothers, veterans, thinkers, builders, quiet leaders, your work is not loud. Your work is internal. Your work compounds. And the fact that you are still here, still learning, still listening, means the quiet mechanics are already turning. Breathe slower, live stronger, reflect deeper, sleep cleaner, love harder. Your future body is forming. Your future mind is wiring. Your future self is being built in silence. And that silent construction is power.